Well, you shoved
I would
queen
win on
10.
the river, I think.
But here,
I mean, on
he
some
decides to
normal,
let the 7-6
a lot
go.
of rivers I win, I think.
Sonheimer's going to call
I
this
check your bet.
every day of the week and twice on
Yeah, like
Sundays.
on like all the blank rivers, like kind of blank.
Yeah, bro.
I think I win easy.
Yeah.
I would bet
They're
big.
still
and-
talking
So
about
if
the
I,
10
if
hand,
I
by the
check, you
way.
would have bet big.
7-5 of
I would
clubs, 10
bet
hand.
big, yeah, and I would win.
No, I said if I check the 10 river.
Sorry? Yeah, of course. Okay, but yeah.
Martin, all you needed to do was bet your flush draw and your gutter on the turn.
Yeah. This
That's
little,
all you needed to do.
This little genius with ace queen, Korai Shule.
Nope, 10-10, my friend. It was an easy one if you bet the turn.
Yeah.
While Kusi with
Thank
top
you.
pair.
Thanks for advice.
Puts a little c-bet out
I
there
will
and the
use
hand's
it
over.
wisely.
It was working so well for you. You just had to keep the streak going and blast
Such
it.
a nice hand.
Blast, blast.
The Jack 9 off.
That is some pink hair. I like it. It works for her. Dagfin Thon has tweeted in, says, how much behind real time is the stream? Generally, the standard for live streams these days is 30 minutes, and that's exactly what we are here. It's a 30-minute delay.
Sorry, 2 flushes.
For all intents and purposes, we're live.
Guess who's in the hand?
This is not blind on blind, though.
Just it's Carroll raising and Vogelsong flatting in position.
Right. I'm half expecting our cameraman to be on the floor somewhere. Did he just fall?
See, on the outer tables like this, they should, at the end of the hand, they should have to, like, show their cards to some sort of camera.
Like we do at the World Series. I was in a producer role this year at the main event. It was kind of fun because I was one of the guys who had to like get the cards in the camera. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what's going on. I mean, I know Christoph Vogelsong and Charlie Carell are in the pot, and I know Vogelsong just bet what looks like about 1.3 million on. Was that a river or a turn?
Kenny, back up half an inch.
And Charlie calls, so it looks like we're going to see one more card. Board of Jack 5-4, 2 hearts, Queen of Clubs on a turn, and it went check bet call on that turn. And now the river is a 7. Doesn't look to change much, the 7.
So Charlie has a fairly, mediocre range here because if he had a strong hand, he's going to be betting and using his aggression. So it's a pretty nice spot for Vogelsong. Carroll's range should be pretty capped. But Charlie is known to be quite unpredictable.
Do you know him? Does he still play?
Who's that?
Try to exploit.
Oh yeah, I think he's playing a little bit, yeah.
Charlie, by the way, has about 28 million behind
so
right
I think
there.
he's like playing.
If he wins this pot, he'll be up over 30
some,
million.
like, mid-stakes.
Oh, okay.
Well, that was Salter. The back of Salter.
I've played with him before. I thought he was super good.
Yeah. He's definitely very.
Jack Salter in seat 4.
He crushed me a few times.
Today, Eiler in seat 1.
I thought maybe he quit. I don't know. Haven't been playing that much. So.
I believe action is on Christoph Vogelsong.
Yeah, he's very deliberate.
Looks like he's reaching for chips.
A lot.
Seems like a lot. It's not just at this point. It's like a
6 million?
betting like 14 big blinds in the river, 15 big blinds.
More than half of his remaining stack.
Charlie has not snap called.
Have a good hand.
Again, the flop was Jack 5, 4, 2 hearts, a black queen on the turn, and then a black 7 on the river. Takes me back to 2012 when I was doing commentary all summer at the World Series with no hole cards. Probably improved my game more than anything, to be honest. Christoph in position.
Not that good a hand. And I got a bad blocker.
So I would assume he says a bad blocker. I would assume he has like some
Ace
sort of
hearts,
ace
king
of
of
hearts
hearts.
or something like that. Exactly.
Blocking
Maybe
missed
ace-
flush draws.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably what he's referencing. And again, when somebody says that, there's a number of hands that you think, okay, what hands could my opponent be bluffing with? And if you have a blocker to one of those hands or a number of those hands, it makes it less likely they're bluffing. But he does make the call, and Vogelsong shows set of jacks. So a flop top set. That is an enormous pot.
Nice hand.
Generally speaking, when you call and your opponent very quickly turns his hand over, not a good sign. Christoph Vogelsong, who, I mean, coming off an amazing summer, he won the Super High Roller at Aria this summer for, what, a $6 million payday. And that was a $300,000 tournament. He won that, and if he can go back-to-back here and win this one, it'd be pretty phenomenal. Kit Goodman says, loving this Jason Bourne-style shaky cam at the outer tables. Yeah, it's kind of like we're in a mystery movie, right? Speaking of jacks, Dom has re-raised this. Sondheimer, the original raiser. Dom, 3-betting to a pretty large size, but he has to put the hand out of position, which is probably why.
Yeah, I don't know if I can see him getting away from ace-3 suited versus Dom, but if he doesn't have fold equity, he won't be able to shove. And it's too big of a raise to flat.
I would assume Dom raised an amount, giving Sondheimer a chance to bluff at it.
He has 11 million.
Yeah,
like.
about, I think, 2, 4,
I guess he
9,
has
9.5.
fold equity versus Dom's. Yeah,
Now he's gonna
he
call.
calls. I just know he's not folding ace-3 suited.
What was it, please? Open a 1-2.
That's Jack Salter. Looks like he is all in and all out. Jack Salter, a
Game, guys.
phenomenal poker player.
I didn't even.
And I kind of feel cheated because we have gone through, we've pretty much changed our feature table at every break starting yesterday, and we've never seen Jack Salter, so I feel cheated.
I just saw Eugene Kachelov, who knocked him out. That was the first time I saw him.
He was at the feature table. We've had him.
We
We pretty much had everybody except Jack and Charlie Correll.
Ace high flop on the feature table.
Ace high flop?
Yeah.
Wow. Ace 10-8, there it is, 2 clubs.
Thank you.
Second time in a row that Dom has had a really good pair and had to face an ace high flop. Fortunately, caught a 10 on the river against that one.
This time he has the jack of clubs.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. In fact, he actually bet it.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a sexy card.
So
That is a really sexy card. Dom now with
Yeah,
the
waiting.
gutter,
Stefan
the
only
flush
has
draw, and
half.
jacks.
Yeah. He's just going to shove, even though he kind of expects to get called. His opponent has less than half pot size bet.
No, he checks. Again, this prediction game, man, I'm telling you.
I'm just trying to put myself in Dom's shoes. I guess.
Right, you prefer shoving there?
I guess he's just trying to get there for free in case he knows his opponent has an ace. and he's just going to try and get to the river for free instead of just putting it in.
Well, I guess he just figures he's not getting an ace to fold.
Yeah.
Oh, and there he gets there. He had a lot of outs, a club,
Yeah.
a queen, or a jack, and he hits the jack. And
He's going to put him in here. I would put him in here. He's going to put him in here.
you're not at all afraid of the queen.
But he's got a call anyway,
Right, okay.
so he might as well put it in and try to get an ace or a two pair. Like, he's got to expect his opponent
Right,
to have
right. You
two
never
pair
wanna-
a lot.
okay.
So
And since Dahlman did bet the flop and Sondheimer called, he's got to have something.
yeah. So he's going to hope that his opponent's going to hero him off with whatever pair he called him with on the flop.
Dom's just
Because
tell you, Dom should write a book. How to hit my set on the river. And he checks again. Wonder if Sondheimer tries to turn his hand into a bluff here. Does he try to turn top pair into a bluff?
I think there's a pretty decent chance.
No, he gives
I
up.
win.
And Dom, I win. Oh, no slow roll there.
Oh, yeah?
Let's
I
hear.
thought about jamming the flop.
What did you have?
Huh?
What did you have?
Ace?
An ace?
Digga, der Spacko rivert sich wieder ein Set zusammen.
Ey! Du meinst den, oder?
It's a big loss there for Sondheimer.
It is.
Komm du mal her.
He's on 4 or 5, a little bit under 6 million chips now. So he's on under 15 big blinds.
Trying to figure out Dom's thought process for not shoving the river.
That's why when I do this, I don't even try to predict people. It's like, yeah. Every time I try to climb in sets, I mean, I want to hear everybody's insight, but poker in many ways, especially Nolan and Hold'em, it's such a simple game, but it's so complex.
Grieche.
Er 3-bettet Smallblind gegen meinen Cutoff. Ich flatte Ass 3 suited. Flop kommt Ass 10 8 mit einem Flush Draw. Er drückt 2,2 in
Here's the
7
commentary in
irgendwas
German.
an. Wir haben SPR halt 1. Ich überlege, ob ich reinknall. Call halt, weil der knallt mir auch am Turn schön rein. Und dann kommt Turn, Flush Draw an und der König. Also Queen Jack macht straight, Flush kommt an, er checkt. Jetzt überlege ich, ob ich jetzt rein jam, aber macht auch gar keinen Sinn. River gut der Bube reingeprasselt. Ich überlege, während er ewig tankt, ob ich jetzt in Bluff turn. Da denkst du, ja, der Idiot callt dann eh wieder, wenn er jetzt Two-Pair gerivert hat.
Digga, komm wieder! Stefan!
So Stefan was giving
So
the
it
hand
isn't it?
history to his friends on the rail. How was the German, Tuckman? Did you get any of that?
Yeah, it's not very good. I'm gonna work on my German though. I feel like I could be a much better poker player if I start working on my German.
Yeah, I heard you and Maria talking
Oh,
about that last night.
Yeah.
Some high-level strategy.
San Pellegrino, please.
Yeah, I mean, when you often ask an expert player how they became so good, they say, well, you know, I surround myself with like-minded individuals and we challenge each other and we talk poker, and I think that's my problem. The people I hang out with just aren't good enough.
7.5?
How many players at this feature table speak German? 4, maybe 5?
Well, let's see. Out of the remaining 19 players, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of our remaining 19 are German.
And an Austrian, Thomas.
We have 2 Americans and,
A couple UK.
not surprising, no Canadians. Pathetic performance. By the way, something I noticed last night, I was looking at the World Series of Poker database. The Canadians had an amazing amount of cashes, but 1 bracelet.
This year?
You guys aren't closers.
Apparently not.
Yeah, I mean, just for argument's sake, I was going to let you know that Czech Republic, 140 cashes, 4 bracelets. Canada, around the 850 cashes, 1 bracelet. That's just not a good ratio. You got to work on that.
Yeah, my ratio is also lacking.
Well, I mean, you represent a lot of Canada. Pair aces here for Karai. He's certainly not going to fold to 1 bet. Muhlacher bet 750,000 into a pot of about 2.3 million. When I say a pot, I mean exactly 2.3 million.
A heart on the turn would make this very interesting.
Like a nice little jack of hearts.
It's kind of what I have in mind. Any extra outs whatsoever, and I think we'll see a second bullet.
When you pick up equity in the turn, it's always kind of that fine line, because you mentioned it earlier on with Martin's hand with the 7-5 clubs.
That's right.
On one hand, you picked up more equity. You want to double barrel and put a lot of pressure on your opponent's possible marginal holding. But on the other hand, you don't know exactly what they have, and you really don't want to get check raised off of your draw now that you picked up some more equity.
That's right.
So, like, if the jack of hearts were to come off, it's such a great card for Thomas to double barrel. But if he got check raised, he'd hate it.
It's very stack size dependent. If you know your opponent's not ever raising you.
Yeah, but how do you don't know that? We can't know that.
No, but you can make as educated as guess as possible. So this is just going to go check now that Thomas paired his king. Unless he decides to protect against flush draws.
Nope, check. And the flush gets there and could very easily go check once again. Pot is 3.8 million. Karai is 6 million behind. Thomas with 16.1 million behind. Karai, another talented young German.
So Thomas is thinking, what hands do I beat? I beat 9s.
Hey, I mean, he beats Jack 9, 9-7, 9-8, all those hands.
I lose the aces. I lose the flush draws that are going for a trap. And he decides to take a showdown and hope that his opponent has a 9. Not only does, he beat some 9s, but he's almost positive that his opponent's not folding an ace or a flush. So
his opponent's not folding a flush. I'm going to go, he could have folded an ace. I mean, if there was 3.8 million in there, if he goes all in on the river, he's basically telling the story of, I have a flush or nothing.
Yes.
The thing that you kind of question that, though, is if the guy who had a ton of chips had a flush draw, might he actually just bet the turn, and put pressure on those hands right away? I don't know. Blinds 200,000, 400,000, antes 50,000. What a beautiful set. I got to hand it to the King's Casino and 888 Live. They have put together a fantastic set here for the World Series of Poker Europe.
Yeah, I love the big screen in the background that shows the flop turn river.
And the top screen, if there's 2 players all in, it'll actually tell you who's involved.
Right.
Really cool.
We'll have to get some models.
Yeah, it's great for people watching.
Worked out perfectly yesterday. That was a fun one.
We are at King's Casino in Rosvadov, kind of right between Munich and Prague.
Yep.
I know a lot of people flew into Prague. I flew into Munich.
Me too. Only direct flight from Toronto.
There you go, direct flight from LA. Munich's a big airport.
13.5 big blinds.
Slightly further away than Prague, but
Yeah.
the direct flight is worth it.
Yes.
Folds around to the blinds. Karai with 10-6 off suit.
Just 6 people, not much ante in the middle.
At least you're having fun.
Kind of.
For a second, I thought that was
Should be
Martin,
having
and then I
fun.
realized, oh
Lots
no,
of
that's Sonheimer.
He likes to talk as well.
Yeah, well, he hasn't until now. I mean, we've had him on the feature table for 3 or 4 hours, and he hasn't said much.
Really? I'm surprised at that.
Yeah.
Just
All in here. Karai gets rid of it.
He didn't want to give him a walk, but he didn't want to shove on him with 10-6 off, so
Right.
he just tried to limp in and win it on the flop. Represent a trap.
We balanced the tables a little bit. I think we're down to 18.
We lost Martin.
This guy? Yeah.
For those of you who are Cabral fans, fear not, he has not
he's
been
more like,
eliminated,
yeah, let's
just
hit the
merely
top
moved.
here first and go from
For
there.
those of you that are not Cabral fans, sorry, he has not been eliminated.
Oh, and there he is. Oh, and by the way, there's a reasonable chance, I'm going to come out and say it, there is a more than reasonable chance that Cabral will be on the feature table at the start of the new break as well. Simply because we have not had Charlie Carell, and we do want to get him on the feature table. So I believe there's a chance if this table stays together, we might get him up there.
But they'll be redrawing at 16,
Right.
which is very, very
I
close.
think our next break is in like oh, you know what? I think they have actually. We were supposed to go on break, so I think they've actually decided not to go on break until we're at 16, so they can take the break then.
Okay.
Cabral is involved in this hand, though.
They're already 20 minutes over then, though, right?
By the way,
I don't think they'll be able to do that too long for the players.
By the way, Cabral is. Look at these seats. Got nice chairs. I'll tell you, over in Vegas, we get the DX Racer chairs, and here at King's Casino, you get these solid chairs. It's really nice.
Salzburg. That did go through my mind, Salzburg, but I didn't want to say.
2,225,000.
Oh, Salty. Always the contributor.
And Martin
Cabral
will win the pot.
Takes another one on the other table as well. Kind of a little scary board there.
Yeah.
Look at these chairs, though.
Yeah, they're nice.
Really nice.
Also playing 8-handed.
Yeah, Eugene Katcheloff at that table. Christoph Vogelsong, Charlie, Eiler, of course, Martin Cabral.
Who is the 6th seat there? Or 7? Took Charlie's
Kinda
right.
sevenish.
Charlie's right. Someone I haven't seen before, but I'm not sure. It's that Polish. Ooh, we have some action here. Wow. Kenny's in big trouble.
Yeah, he is. And Bryn Kenny does have Badziakuski covered. He's got the flush. Kenny with 2 pair.
Oh, no, short of this guy.
Straight also got there. I mean, if there was a card in the deck, besides a 7 probably, that you did not want to see if you were Bryn Kenny, it was the 5 of hearts. I mean,
Yes and no, but it's a card where your opponent's sometimes gonna barrel some picked up flush draws, and when Kenny's just check calling with 2 pair, he wants his opponent to barrel.
yeah.
So I think we're gonna see maybe like 1.6-ish. 2 million.
2 million chip bet here. Back over to Bryn, and Bryn really can't do anything except call.
Yep.
This is hand 102. You're watching the high roller for 1 drop. This is event number 10, 111,111 euros. That was the entry fee. We had 132 entries, and we are now down to 18 players. Everybody in the money, including that man right there, Bryn Kenny, Mike Leah, David Tuckman in the booth. And there's the call. Bryn looking for a 6 or a king. Well, the 7 should save him a little bit at least.
Yeah.
Counterfeits his 2 pair.
And it also might make his opponent's bet size a little bit less because the board did pair. He's going to be a little less enthusiastic to bomb like an overpot bet.
But at least, I mean, before there was a chance that Bryn could beat some hands that Badziakuski would theoretically bet for value.
Correct. Yeah.
Now,
That's
when
changed.
Badziakuski bets, Bryn only has a bluff catcher.
That's right.
Pot is 7.5 million. Bryn hates that river. I mean, he hates the run out. The 5 of hearts and then the 7. Just a terrible run out for him after that flop. But the 7 of spades should save him.
I think he's still going to go for a pretty big bet because he thinks Bryn either has a king, a 7, or a lower flush. 5.5.
I mean, Bryn was in the big blind. I mean, Bryn can have a hand like 7x with the X being a big heart. Obviously, he has 2 of them, so it's a little tougher. But, you know, if he has ace 7 with the ace of hearts, I understand that that's one hand specifically, but
So Bryn Kenny, can he find a fold?
pot's 5.5 million. This is a
The bet.
it's a
Pot's
exactly.
13.
This is a bet. 5.5 into 7.5. So, you know, it's he's not getting a great price. He can't really beat anything but a bluff.
Wow, he turns his hand into a bluff and shoves. Oh my.
That is sick. Bryn Kenny has just turned his king 6 into a bluff.
15?
His opponent literally threw up.
If Bryn gets Bad Kuski to fold this, and I have a 3rd kid, I am naming my 3rd kid Bryn. I don't care if it's a boy or a girl.
It works.
Action on the left-hand side of the screen. You'll see it went check, bet, call. Turn, check, bet, call. River.
Actually, very bad man to call this.
Check, bet, all in. So Kenny check calls the flop, check calls the turn, and then check raises all in on the river.
He deduced that his opponent was value betting. He figured he could not call anymore and decided on this. And if anyone speaks Belarusian, feel free to let us know what he's saying.
So Bryn with full house blockers realizes his hand can't be good, but turns his hand into a bluff. Just a sick play.
I like it because the stack his opponent has left, like he still has like a nice shove stack of just under 20 bigs. Feels he could probably play with it.
Yeah, right. He's got just enough chips where if he folded, he can still play poker. He's got 19 bigs.
Okay, I'll probably call a clock on me like in 1 minute. Myself.
Wojciechowski, by the way, from Belarus.
Nächstes Mal gewinnst du auch eine Hand.
Ja?
Nächstes Mal gewinnst du auch eine Hand.
Clock, please.
He just called the clock on himself.
I mean,
You call time when
if
you
I wouldn't force myself, like, how could I make a decision without this minute? Just
Was it a reasonable amount of time?
This is amazing.
why it's not a minute?
Oh, I love this game.
Let it, It's okay. He called it on him. It's okay. He called it on himself. Let him.
Okay, no problem. You
Halt
tell
auch
me when
witzig.
10 left. You'll count it down. Okay.
Die sind aber richtig besoffen da. Steffen meinte, er findet es nicht lustig, dass ich
I think he's going to find the fold, though. I think he's going to find the call. I'm sorry.
als Jay und ich dann noch an der Bar
Feels like a call to me.
Also, Tom, ich hab's gehört, du redest scheiße über mich.
Hey guys, it was nice to play with you.
He's calling.
Wow.
What a fantastic hand.
Yeah, that was. That was.
8.
They're going to count this out, and let's just talk this through, because
And you get to play with us some
watching
more.
this from
You get
my
to play with us some
perspective,
more.
I don't care that it didn't work. I love the play by Bryn Kenny. It just, I mean, it didn't work in this particular spot. He kind of ran into the top of his opponent's range. But just the creativity from Bryn, I really like the play. Your thoughts on it as we watch the outer table?
Yeah, well, a lot of people there would just make the mistake of just, I have top pair, I'm going to call.
Or fold. Well, folding's not terrible, but calling's the worst.
Right. Like Bryn was sure that he was being value bet. He was sure his hand wasn't good. He didn't want to give up on the pot. It was a big pot. So he went for it. And
the only question I have for you and I have for our audience is,
I don't just want to station.
I like the bluff, and I've already said that. I like the bluff even more if the sizing on the river was a little bit smaller by Wojciechowski, because I feel like when he sizes it that large, he's a little bit more polar, and he has some really big hands. I don't know if he has, like, some of the hands that, like I don't know if he's betting 5.5 million into 7.5 million with, like, ace-king there anymore, is he?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like he did adjust his bet size on the river when the board paired. I think it would have been like an over pot bet if the board didn't pair.
Really? Okay.
And that's what Bryn attacked,
Right.
because it was a card
He
that
sensed a little weakness.
yes, like yeah, it wasn't like, even though it was a big bet, it was a bet that Bryn could attack. That wasn't the nuts.
Ilo's got some cool glasses. I like those glasses. You wonder
Well, when
if
you're rebuying 4 times into a $100,000 tournament,
you're gonna have
you probably have some
probably have some
top
cool
end glasses.
you wonder if Wojciechowski, you know, if he has a few more chips if he makes the fold. I don't know. I would have loved to crawl inside his brain and just know exactly what he was thinking that all the way through. That was such an interesting hand. What a treat! I got to tell you. I mean,
I wonder
as
if there
a
is
fan
any
of the game, as somebody who loves this game, this is why I love it. 4 spades out there, as you can see.
I wonder if there's any like high level kind of quick twitch kind of mental game where he called the clock on himself to try and get his brain to like just go into hyperactive mode.
Yeah, I don't know. Charlie, by the way, not nearly as deep as he was. We saw him double up Christoph earlier. Well, not double up, but pay him off.
He keeps calling river bets incorrectly, and it's hard to stop the momentum when you have all the chips and you keep getting the showdown. Your strategy is to try to show down your hand, and you keep calling bets.
Oh, please.
Seems reasonable.
All right, the time has been called. You'll have 30 seconds to act from now.
That is Andreas Eitler on the right side of your screen. And of course, Charlie Carell right in the center. And Charlie does give it up.
Nice comeback.
Wow, what a comeback here for Andreas Eitler.
Now a little bit things, tracking, now a little bit playing with.
Big smile on his face right there.
Yeah? That's how you do it. Yeah, I was sure. Yeah. But it's all about the dealers, yeah? It's all about the dealers.
It's a break?
Yeah. He was taking like 7 minutes, so it's a break.
Well, that's it. Players are on a break. Wasn't sure when it was going to happen. The players finally went on a break. We are here live in Razvadov for the 2017 World Series of Poker Europe. That's right. The high roller for one drop, 111,000 euros to get in. We are down to 18 players. Players are taking a quick 15-minute break. We will as well. Back in 15. More David Tuckman and more World Series action in 15 minutes, guys.